Hi, I'm Natalie Callback, and I'm super thrilled to have Rachel Greig back for Creative Jumpstart 2019. Rachel is in Australia. We're doing this interview at, for both of us, crazy times. It's 7 a.m. for my time, and it is already 11 p.m. for Rachel. That's the only time we could make it fit. So, Rachel is a good friend of mine. I've seen her many, many times at trade shows, but also in Australia. And actually, a couple years ago, together with Julie Pfeiffer-Balzer, I taught a workshop in Rachel's amazing warehouse. And if you ask warehouse, then you will have to see what Rach has to tell about herself and why she has a warehouse. So, Rachel, I hand it over to you in Australia. Hi.
Hi, good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Well, thanks for having me for Creative Jumpstart for 2019. I'm really excited to be back.
So glad you came back.
Yeah, for sure, always, always.
So, Rach, tell us a little bit about your artic, your art and craft background and what you do. And why
Right,
do you
so
have a warehouse?
yes, exactly. Yeah, my art background, I started doing, well, my main interest is photography. So I did a Bachelor of Visual Arts degree when I finished school. And the major for that was photography, but a lot of the other subjects that I did was printmaking and ceramics. I did a lot of fibre art, so bookmaking as well. And we had to keep visual diaries, which is what started me on art journaling and, fibre making and paper making and all those sorts of things. So I got really interested in doing all the book side of thing and printmaking and photography. So I did photography for many years after that, but all of the little visual art side of things like the printmaking, I was still really interested in that. So I started doing lino cuts and making my own lino prints, which was effectively my own stamps to make greeting cards. So, of course, I was on a uni budget, like a college budget, which was nothing. And so that's how I did that. But then once I finished uni and got a job, I started, buying my own rubber stamps. And fast forward a few years after that, I thought, maybe I can turn some of my photos into rubber stamps. So I started doing that, and now I have my own company called Darkroom Door, and I design and manufacture my own range of art rubber stamps.
Yeah,
So
they're
that's
fantastic.
Sorry?
They're fantastic.
Well, thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I do love them.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
I love them too. I'm a bit biased.
I used to use your stems quite a lot. Of course, as some people know, when you have different companies you work with, then that kind of stops. And it's not because you hate the other company. It's just like, that's how it works in this world.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love Rachel's awesome photography designed stems too. Your photos are amazing anyway because you do these like cool film strips out of them too that you can use in your like scrapbooks or art journals or
Yeah, yeah.
wherever you want to do that, greeting cards. And then oftentimes the photos that she took while she was traveling she turns into stems. And of course, if you're looking for Australian themed stems, that's another thing to go because that's like super special, right?
Yes. Yeah, yeah. That's it. Yeah. So no, I do. I incorporate a lot of my travel photos into the stamps and then also the other products as well. So, and then I like to then use them in the art journaling and in my books. So it's all good.
Yeah, that's so cool. And she has this like really cool big warehouse where she has a classroom and she teaches classes and we taught classes. Ta-da!
Yeah, bum, bum, bum.
Pum,
Yeah,
pum,
that
pum.
was so much fun.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was
when
super
Julie
fun.
and you came down, that was great.
Yeah, and I loved seeing, it was super interesting too to look behind the scenes of where stems are made. That was
Yep.
another like super treat for us to kind of like get a picture of where that actually, like what is behind a family company that has all hands on deck and makes their own stamps and produces them in their own country. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah,
Um,
Yeah, it is, and it's an interesting process. So and
Yes.
we love showing people how that's done when
Yeah,
you
we
call
can't
in.
tell you. We have to kill you if we tell you.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But it's good, and the way, like, because a lot of the photos that I use are very detailed as well.
Yeah.
So there's it's not an easy process, but we've got our own little formula that we like to use to make it work. So that's
Yeah,
good.
not a good thing to lino cut that one out.
Yeah, that's a bit. Yeah, I might be there for a while. So
That might take some serious skills and time.
Exactly. I'm actually not that good at that lino cutting,
Oh.
so.
I'm sure you are better than me. I just actually went to a printing party. I have a teacher here. He's amazing, Bruno Nadalin, and he does a lot of like printing workshops. And anyway, once in a while he offers at the art school a printing party so that you can use the press, but he also helps you. So I had this like wonderful idea to cut out an image of a photo that I had taken downtown, which everyone here in the city knows because it has a very famous mural by Shepard Fairey with a wave and the Statue of Liberty. But what I didn't think about was to reverse the photo first, because everyone who will see that stem will recognize it's wrong. It's like the other way around. Rule number one. And then it was like so hard to carve like super tiny details out. I basically like took out the lights and like sandwich, and I was like, whatever.
But you made it your own, so that's good.
Yeah,
so,
it's awesome.
You could just call it creative license. It's just backwards, and that's
exactly.
Cool.
All these things, but it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah.
So this year. Rach, as you know, the theme for Creative Jumpstart is My Home is My Castle. And I loved seeing your video. I saw it already, of course, because we are launching soon. So I know that has some special meaning for you. So, Rachel, what does home mean to you?
Home for me usually is where the people that I love the most are. And especially because, like, as a kid, I sort of bounced from home to home. I lived in a few different homes. We didn't just stay in the one place. And so I lived with my parents, and then lived with my mum, and then lived with my dad for a while because my parents split up when I was a bit younger. And then after that, where I lived, because I grew up in the country, so it was just a small little country town. And so that only went to year 10 at school, so I needed to move away to finish my schooling. So then I lived with my grandparents for a few years, and then after that, when I went to college, I lived with my brother. So I ended up sort of, by the time I was at college, lived in about, 4 or 5 houses. So it meant that I wasn't stuck to just sort of one house. I could easily adapt and easily find a new home. And I guess the way that I made that my home was just, the people I was surrounded with. And, of course, obviously my room had, my little things in it and my little collections and stuff. So I've still got a lot of that even now to this day, some of those little collections and stuff. But once I finished college, I ended up travelling in a camper van, in a combi van, through Europe. You'll appreciate that, the old, Volkswagens. And so I went around Europe for about 12 months, and so that was my home at that point. And I think even that year is probably one of my most favourite years, and our home that we built inside that van. And we hadn't, and we laugh about it now because that was, probably about 20 years ago. And then it was only earlier this year that we actually went into another motorhome for a couple of weeks over in New Zealand. And it was just like going straight back into the van. Back when we were travelling through Europe. And we're like, why have we waited so long to do this again? It was really just like, yep, this is it. So I think, we're going, when we're retiring, we're buying a van. That's it. We're going to make that our home and live in that probably for a long time and travel around Australia a bit more. So... I can easily make my home anywhere, but it's generally just, where where my family are. I live here with my husband and 2 kids and our cute little dog, and so, this is our home, and it has been for a long time, so we're, pretty stable here for a while, which is nice. So, yeah, so anyway, but I can happy
That
to
is a
travel.
very interesting. I never thought about that. You said something that just totally resonated with me, and I was like, wow, because I moved a lot when I was a kid too, like a lot.
Yeah.
And I have this thing about like whenever I move, I'm like, okay, what's this is an artful adventure. What's going on? Not as a kid, I wasn't looking for artful, but I was like, what makes this place? And I kind of like discovered my surrounding and kind of like searched for the things that I would find great. At some point, I was abducted from a big city to a little village, which was really hard, and I still made it my home. But it's true. When you said that because you moved so much, you learned how to adapt easily and make other places your home. I just realized, I think that's maybe why this is actually also, it's like a thing, you have to do that to kind of like survive, right? You have to just find the way to say, oh yeah, that's my home now, okay, right?
Yeah, that's it. And I think it's a good thing to have, really, being able to adapt. And the funny thing is, we've been in this house now that I'm living in now for, I think we're going on to 8 years, and which is a long time for us. And so instead of moving, because we're staying here for until the kids have finished school, and we'll move furniture around now instead of moving house. We'll go, we need a change. What can we do? All right, let's move the furniture, or let's move this somewhere else, or whatever. So we'll always do that. So yeah,
that is funny because it makes it as if you moved somewhere. It's like a whole different, like, I used to do that all the time. I was just talking with Marsha about it, that when I was in university and I had really a small room only, the only way I could cope with it would be like changing like the furniture and everything up, and then just live with it for half a year, and then like, no, that didn't work.
We always say it's about every 6 months,
right?
And we'll do something. But the problem is, once you change one thing, it almost changes the whole house. And
exactly.
Then you go, well, if you move that there, then that has to go there. Then it's like playing Tetris, and you've got to put all the pieces back together. And you go, oh, why did we do this? But anyway, it keeps it fun. Or our current project is we're painting some of the walls a different colour, so we're always trying to keep things fresh.
What colour are you using? Like bright colours or muted colours?
No, pretty boring, to be honest. We keep everything neutral because we keep the artwork in the home.
Yes.
Like we keep that to have the colour. So,
gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Are you having a lot of like artwork hanging around in your home?
We do. I have a lot of my photography that's hanging around at the moment. It's like I have a moving exhibition, but it's it's like, where have I travelled to? Right. So currently a lot of Nepal stuff. Like when I travelled to Nepal, that's all still hanging here because I had an exhibition with that series. And so you could sort of say that the pieces that didn't sell are the ones that are in the...
But hey, they're still so beautiful that you hang them.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. And then I've also got a lot of the European trip hanging up. So we've got Venice and Prague and all that. That's all hanging around. But we've just come back from New Zealand, so I haven't got that hanging up yet. But we've got 2 wall spaces that we're planning on. I just have to get I have to get the photos printed, so I'll do that. But we've also got other artwork from, our artist friends and stuff. Some of that's hanging around the house as well. And my kids, they do really good artwork as well. So that's
Are your
good.
photos mostly black and white, or do you have them developed in color too?
Both, but the ones that are hanging in the house at the moment are mostly black and white, but I know the New Zealand ones that I'm going to print up, they'll be colour. So.
Oh man,
yeah.
that's one of my big bucket list things to go to New Zealand. I think
You should.
it's right.
Yeah, it's so nice. I've been there like 4 times, but this last trip was just the best trip. So yeah, I can't wait to go back.
I was just talking with Rowan Chevier, is her last name. She's also part of Creative Jumpstart. She's actually in Australia, but originally from New Zealand. And
Yeah.
she said something very funny about New Zealanders and Australians. And she said it's like, you have to watch the interview, but I think it was something in short like, she loves Australia, she loves the Australians, but Australians are like their birds. They're all out there, while the New Zealand birds are they're beautiful but very muted.
Oh yeah, well yeah, it's that, you know, like all countries who are right next to each other,
Yes.
that have that, you know,
Little
funny
banter.
relationship with it. Yeah, the banter, exactly. So you know, yeah, but she's living in Australia, right? So
Yeah, she lives in Australia. She loves it.
it's swaying in our favour.
Yes.
I don't know why she's left New Zealand though, because it's a beautiful country. So
Yeah, I know. No, she loves living in Australia. It was kind of funny because I told her, "Hey, we also have 2 Australians, you know, other Australians here, so you better be careful." It was funny.
That is funny.
So we just talked about that like me, you travel a lot for fun, but also for teaching, and so. You know, we both love to travel, but what is the first thing that you do when you come home after you traveled, like to make you like, oh God, I'm home again?
Usually I just dump all my stuff. I don't usually unpack very quickly. Just get into something cozy and then just hang out with the kids for a bit. So nothing too exciting, but in terms of, you know, doing anything around the house, but I just like to relax, and I think that's the main thing. Home should be, I think, is the place where you can just be your real self and just, you know, chill out.
I think that's the same thing. I go and shower and put on jammies and just like lounge around for a while. And it sounds horrible, but I oftentimes do not unpack for 2 days.
No,
Like,
I don't. Well, that's good. 2 days is good. Sometimes I leave my suitcase there 2 weeks or
if
whatever.
it's materials too, I'm like, what ifs? It can be there forever. You know, like,
Usually it's full of art supplies
Yes.
anyway, so like I can
I'm
leave
like-
that there till my next trip. So you know,
because like that means like serious like organization, cleaning, putting it in places again, which means you have to clean other stuff up, and you're like, no, I just came home. I can't be bothered. It's contained.
especially, you know, you got to deal with all the jet lag first. So do all that, and then deal with it. So anyway.
So we just talked about your home, that you display artwork and photography and all kinds of stuff. You paint your place too. What kind of other artists, like, do you have like a artists that you display that are like local or Australian that you buy art from, collect?
I have, well, they're not real artworks though, but they're prints of their artwork.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've got a couple of Brett Whiteley's. I don't know if you've ever heard of Brett Whiteley, but he's an Australian artist. He became really prolific in like the 70s and 80s, and yeah, he's sort of like a real iconic sort of an Australian artist, and his artwork, you should check it out, because he does beautiful landscapes of Australia, but he also does a lot of work with the female figure as well. And the way he does it is he really just like he distorts the shapes to really accentuate, you know, the female figure, and so some of that's really nice as well. So I've got 2 of his prints that are sitting, or you know, framed in the house. So I like those, and there's a few more that I'd like to get of his, and I met his wife only last year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and because Brett, he passed away when I was at university, but his wife is, she's still here, and when they have exhibitions, she'll come and do a talk, and so I met her last year, so that was really fascinating, and she just sat down and chatted with me for a long time, so that was good.
That's pretty amazing, yeah.
I know, yeah, it is amazing. So, and then there's some other local artists here who do some markets nearby as well. So, I usually either, buy some of their artwork or even some of their greeting cards as well. So, I like to send them out to my mum.
Yeah.
Because she likes drawing, so she likes receiving artwork from other artists as well. So that's good.
Are you ever displaying your artwork at art fairs too, or art markets or markets?
I used to, but I haven't had time the last few years. So, I haven't done that for a long time. Most of my artwork now I'm keeping in journals and doing not for framing so much. So, but I am I'm in a place now that I really want to get back into doing some more art that's more for the wall rather than for...
Yeah, me too.
So, it'll be interesting to see what I do in the next couple of years because I've got a few ideas up my sleeve. So, so that'll be good.
I think it was interesting. As I said, I did some printing classes, and I did the lino cut class and a dry point etching class. And what I found interesting was that I started to think about ways to combine things that I usually do with these things.
Yes.
And one of my favorite things that I did, I don't know if it's going to be the favorite of people at the holiday market that I'm going to, but one of my favorite was I did a monoprint at home, like an abstract, and then I went with that monoprint to the class and I printed the dry point etching on top of it. Yes. And it combined what I usually do with something that I just did new. And that made me really excited. I was like, there's something that I don't usually do. I mean, I'm not going to buy a printing press. That's not going to happen. But I can go to those parties and, make something new. And I was like, I would love to hang this, for myself.
And some of your dry point work is really nice. Like I saw the one that you've done of the Flatiron building. And really, really nice artwork.
Oh,
but I think the thing as artists is we're always, if we constantly try new things, then we can evolve our artwork and grow it into new, just new layers and new things that we haven't done, new experiment with new ideas. So
yeah, I think that's so important, right? It's like how many classes do you take a lot of classes, Rach? Or I mean, I know time is an issue, but
yeah, time is an issue, but no, I try to, and if I can't do in person, then I'll try and do some online classes. And this is why Creative Jumpstart's so good because you've got, all these different artists, and it's like a little taste of each different artist, and then if you like a particular artist's artwork, then you can go and find their online classes or their in-person classes and then elaborate more with that. That's what I love because and then different artists will resonate with you at different times too. Like sometimes I've been more into the, the art journaling, and then other times I want to do sort of more work, like I was saying before, like collage work and stuff to be framed and put up on the wall. So it just depends on what you're feeling like. So
yeah. Definitely. But I think the same thing about Creative Jumpstart. Of course, we love Creative Jumpstart. But what I do love about it, it's not only that students love to take it. I know that a lot of us artists are actually participating. And I think it is because it has these very short increments of video. It's it's doable. It's not like you're in for a long time with 1 hour videos or whatever. And I really love that you guys, a lot of you, I think last year were at least 10 artists that were trying to do a lot and just participating, which was super fun,
Exactly, because you can always learn something from everyone. So,
right, exactly.
And the length of the videos are good because you can you can digest all the information, and I mean, I know with my video I've done, like, made it faster time.
Yeah.
So the actual project will take a bit longer to create if you wanted to do it from start to finish, but you can always pause it and then wait for things to dry and then keep going. But there's so many ideas, so yeah,
less watching time, more doing time.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. If you do, you need that, because you need to be doing more rather than, just watching. So
exactly.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic video. I loved it a lot, and I learned a lot about you, which was cool too. Didn't know you played the piano, so that was cool.
Yes.
And so, you should sign up for Rachel. I mean, not just for Rachel, but for Creative Jumpstart using Rachel's link. That would be awesome. And also check out Rachel if you don't know her yet. Also check out her amazing STEM company, Darkroom Door. I'm sure you will find something there that you will make your heart pitter-patter, flutter. I don't know what to say, but you get it. It's 7 a.m., people. It's 7 a.m. So thank you so much, Rachel. That was awesome. And see you soon.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.